all have improved over the course of the season. Pat Connaughton has been terrific. Jack Cooley has turned himself into a Player of the Year candidate in the Big East. St. John's has won 2 in a row, but 0-10 against ranked teams after 6 wins a year ago. The 5 fresh, as they like to call it, and Garrett and Pointer, 2 guys that interim coach Mike Dunlap says are the key to their basketball team. Mike Stewart, James Breeding, Mike Nance, our officials, as we are set for hoops here at the Garden. St. John's hammered Notre Dame here a year ago, one of those ranked teams that fell at MSG against the Red Storm. But obviously a much different year. Veteran-laden squad a year ago. All rookies and just 6 scholarship players right now for St. John's. Here's Garrett coming off a career game, 18 points, 9 rebounds against DePaul, 22 in white. Here's Pointer, and he gets the bounce for 3. Just 1 of 22 in league play prior to that make.
Well, they've had to encourage him to shoot the basketball. Essentially saying, listen, if you're not an option offensively, it's 5-on-4. You're making things too difficult for us.
Again, Dunlap said right before the game, that guy's a key for us. He needs the score, as you pointed out. Here's Atkins. Can't answer. Kept alive by Connaughton in a new possession. Cooley can't bank it in, but Jack Cooley will go to the line for 2. Now, you said it, Mike Bray, no question. Not only a Big East Coach of the Year candidate, he's won that award 3 of the last 5 years, but a shot to repeat as National Coach of the Year. Although he says that his players, his backcourt might be the best in the league and maybe the best he's had, and that Jack Cooley's an entirely different player than he was a year ago.
Cooley reshaped his body, and for the first time in his career, because he's a lead guy, you know, he's taking his game seriously, his improvement seriously, puts down the video games. His teammates thankful for that. It's amazing when you put the time in and work and you're skilled, good things happen.
Phil Green committed a foul, so 1 of 2 for Cooley, who is a decent foul shooter, around 70%. Cooley in Big East games averaging 14 points and 10 rebounds per contest.
Now the Irish, you know, we think over Mike Bray's career, it's always been about how good they are offensively, and that's still the case. They mix speeds offensively, but they're really good defensively.
Here's Garrett on the drive, and count the basket, and the Notre Dame foul as Martin tried to take the charge, but is called for the personal.
Boy, what a difference for Garrett. You know, he just looks so much more confident and comfortable. He said initially, listen, when I first joined the team, I was a little bit hesitant. There's no hesitation. You know, assertive, authoritative move to the rim, no hesitation, love it.
12 points per game over his last 3. He was academically ineligible for the first semester. Really, given the circumstances with the health of Steve Lavin, the fact that they lost all their seniors, pretty much played just freshmen. It's been a decent year. I mean, St. John's has won 5 Big East games.
I was thinking the exact same thing. There's a couple teams that would love to have 5 in their pocket.
Atkins almost threw it over the head of Jaron Grant. And then good defense by Garrett. 2-on-1. Garrett, Harkless, you bet.
This is something that has plagued the Irish, and Mike Bray has tried to sort of avoid the topic, not trying to make it grow bigger than it is. They get out of the gate slow, and St. John's is most comfortable running. You want to keep them out of transition.
How about the West Virginia game the other night? 2-point game at half. Notre Dame outscores them 41-16 in the second half, and they win 71-44. They had that Villanova game recently where they're down 10 late, and all of a sudden Connaughton went off. Everybody started hitting threes, and Notre Dame won that one. Shot clock at 4. Here's Atkins with 2. Got it off. Can't score. Tracked down by Knight. And now Dragovic can't hit it. And Harkless with a rebound. Here's Green. And an offensive foul here.
Well, you want to keep a young team out of easy opportunities. A steal because of a poor pass. Look how quickly they change ends. Garrett able to handle it just enough. And I tell you, I love watching Mo Harkless play. I mean, I just think this guy is so supremely gifted. He makes things look easy. Runs the floor incredibly well. Has great size. Can make threes. And Mo Harkless is a big-time guy.
Set the Big East record for most points by a freshman in his league debut with 32 against Providence. Harkless at 30 at Duke.
Yes. And really, they could have quit against Duke. I mean, you're down big at the half.
Grant.
See, Dragovic passes that shot, and I'm not sure why.
Shot clock winding down. Good defense by Harrison. And jump ball on the possession area. It'll be Notre Dame basketball, but only 2 to shoot. Mike Dunlap's second season. No, there is not a wedding at halftime. All the coaches wearing blue bow ties to help raise awareness for prostate cancer. And of course, Steve Lavin had prostate cancer surgery October 6th. He returned November 9th and has done coach since November 18th. He came out this week and said, I will definitely be back next year. And if you ask him, he'd say, I can coach right now, just the doctors won't let me.
Well, his long-term health is at stake.
Martin had to fire that one up and way off of the 3. Lavin has been tirelessly recruiting and still involved with practice occasionally, and obviously in constant conversation with Mike Dunlap, who he fully trusts to run the team.
Well, and I think he has to be so assertive and sort of keep pounding the idea that he is coming back. You don't fly and crisscross the country like Steve Lavin has done if you're not invested in the program. You know, there's rumors that his wife, Marianne, who's a talented actress, wants to go back to the West Coast. You know, he dismisses it all. He's there. They're working to build a program. It's a 24/7 job.
Went to the NCAA tournament a year ago for the first time in a decade. St. John's leads 7-1. Notre Dame with more turnovers than field goals so far. Offensive rebound here, and St. John's will keep. Harrison having a little trouble with the handle. Harkless to Harrison. Harrison off the bounce. Too strong with a 3, and Achua pokes it out of bounds.
They had lost 4 straight, including a 30-point blowout at Seton Hall. And this is a young team. They could have mailed it in the last 3 weeks. I give great credit to Mike Dunlap, the staff, Steve Lavin. They go back-to-back wins against UCLA and DePaul. I don't care what level of team you're playing. To have this young team and come back with back-to-back wins when it could have been easy to fold it up.
Look at him on the defensive end, too. They've gotten better there as Pointer makes a play. And now Harkless with a pull-up. Garrett trying to keep it alive. And out to Atkins. Notre Dame 0 for 5 from the field. Just 1 point came on a Cooley free throw. Martin cleans it up inside. And finally, 5.5, or rather 4.5 minutes in, Notre Dame gets a field goal.
Boy, they just don't look sharp. The passes don't look sharp. Their hands are not ready.
Mike Bray 1-5 at Madison Square Garden against St. John's, losing 3 straight. The last win coming in 2004 here. And save last year, those were not against great St. John's teams. Notre Dame was pretty good, but couldn't win those games. St. John's turned it over there. Here's Grant. No shots yet for Jaron Grant, their leading scorer. As Atkins is over 2. To the corner, Connaughton. And boy, what a story he has been over the last month.
But you have to reshape your team, and you know you've got some really good shooters. Connaughton is one of those guys, and against St. John's zone, similar to what they had to do against Syracuse, where for 40 minutes it's mentality about execution and patience in the zone.
Harkless missed the layup and then fouled on the second try. Remember, Connaughton a week ago had 7 threes in the win over Villanova.
Well, they can stretch you down into the deep corner, and the bottom side of that zone, Harkless, you see how far he had to come to recover. That's tough to do.
Connaughton, a freshman from Arlington, Massachusetts, who's a pitcher on the baseball team as well. Harkless to the line after the foul on Martin. 2 on Martin. Mike Gray says he talks to Connaughton in baseball terms a lot of times. Says he was throwing strikes last week in Philly, referencing those threes.
Yeah, you know, it talked a little bit about sort of the weight and responsibility a pitcher carries, you know, having to deliver a strike. And you think about, to me, his greatest strength. Listen, he's real bouncy. He's very athletic, very good shooter. There's a little bit of an edginess that I love about Connaughton.
Grant's first shot attempt of the game. In and out from 3. Notre Dame 1 of 5 from behind the arc. And Pointer throws it away. Or was it tipped? No, it was deflected, so it will stay St. John's ball. Harkless leading the way with 4 points. St. John's is leading, and Harrison hasn't scored. Harrison is the 3rd leading scorer in the conference in Big East games alone.
Think about this, okay? The coaches, when they vote on those postseason awards, they're basing their awards on conference play. You think Harrison could beat out Harkless for Rookie of the Year?
That's a great point. And they had a shot at first team all Big East. A lot of good players in the league, so it's unlikely, but he's in the conversation. Shooting 41% from 3 in league games. Almost 19 points per game. Good assist-to-turnover ratio in league games. Shot clock at 3. They get it underneath and good defense. Knight got a block there on Garrett. Here's Connaughton, had the 3 blocked by Harkless. But Notre Dame still ends up with a basket. Connaughton now with a handful. Garrett on the kick out to Harrison. And Harrison buries the jumper at the free throw line. Back-to-back 20-point games. 3 of the last 4, 6 of the last 8 for Harrison. Grant trying to hang and score. And Achua able to get the rebound. Harrison got the hot hand, 2 in a row.
Look. Profile on the difficulties this young man has overcome in his existence. It should be special. He's had a unique upbringing.
He's from Missouri City, Texas, and he will set the St. John's freshman record for scoring. He is now 17 points away from tying Eric Barkley for the record of 500 points. Turnover as Dragovic was on the baseline. 3 turnovers, 3 field goals for Notre Dame early on.
You make a great case for Harrison. I know people would sit out there and their ears would perk up at you saying there's a possibility that he's a first-team performer. But you look at the productivity of Harrison and probably the team's lack of success and some guys above him in terms of production and team success. Legitimate case with Harrison's numbers.
Because you look at a team like Syracuse, who do you pick? There's so many guys there.
Yeah.
You'd have to think Marquette's got at least 1 on that first team.
2. I think 2.
Probably 2. As Achua cleans it up inside. Crowder and also DJO. Johnson Odom.
Kevin Jones. I'll say this to you. The freshman class in the Big East, there's going to be some freshmen that are talented and have had great years that may not make the all-rookie team.
Harkless with good defense stepping in front of the pass intended for Dragovic. Here's Harrison, and he's grabbed by Dragovic. Conference and field goal percentage, and Mike Gray was telling us, he can shoot the 3. At some point, that's going to happen where he steps out. They run plays for him out of bounds, 4 perimeter jumpers.
And the Irish have done a tremendous job all year of switching defenses between man and zone and just keeping their people off balance. Good little strip there by Atkins.
Atkins fighting for it, and good thing for St. John's they didn't call a foul on Green. That would have been 3, and you could have called one there. Instead, they get Achua. It's his first and the 3rd on St. John's. And Atkins a little shaken up, was holding his right thumb. They get Cooley more involved. He didn't have an official field goal attempt yet. Connaughton off target from 3. Achua up high with the rebound. Here's Green in transition. Blows down the lane and lays it in. What a move.
Really concerning for Mike Bragg. Again, this has been a consistent theme. You touched on the 2 games where they go down big and have to fight back.
8-0 run by St. John's. A 9-point Red Storm lead. Atkins into the paint. Able to get it off the window with English.
Nobody up to help St. John's inbound the ball here from Harkless. What do you think about Mike Dunlap? He basically said, listen, I said, how are you treating this last couple weeks? He said, we're basically telling our guys we're dangerous. We are built for an upset. Look how confidently they're playing right now.
We were here a few weeks ago against Syracuse. They were outclassed in that game. They look like a different team today in the way they played the last couple of games.
Getting out in transition, playing at great pace, playing hard defensively.
Harkless now with 6 points to lead all scorers. Martin in the lane, gets the bounce, and Martin with a couple of field goals now. Green racing back up the court for St. John's. Notre Dame currently a half game back of Marquette after the Golden Eagles won in Morgantown last night. That's her second place. Notre Dame still could, if it wins out and Syracuse loses out, because they have the tiebreaker, get the top seed of the Big East tournament. And obviously they just want the double bye, not have to play until Thursday. If they win this game, in all likelihood they will get it, as Martin misses on the three-point try. Here's Harkless, and nice find. And a Chua foul.
The St. John's does not have a low post option. So how do you get paint points? You get them in transition. Good pursuit of the ball by Achua. And then in transition, Phil Green, another guy they've had to encourage not to lose his own game. And that's his game, the penetration game. And then a nice little entry pass. And Harkless, he's effortless. He's fluid. He's effortless. He's pretty to watch.
Connaughton just picked up his second foul. So Connaughton and Martin both with 2 personals. As Achua is at the free throw line for 2. Shooting 68% at the free throw line. Connaughton will go to the bench, so Dragovic returns. God's gift to Achua, a junior from Nigeria. He's off with that one. He knew it right when he released it. John's 0-10 against ranked teams. They beat 5 ranked opponents, including at the time number 9 Notre Dame a year ago here at the Garden. And they've got an 8-point lead on the now 18th ranked Irish. 8:25 left in the first. From the corner, Dragovic buries a 3.
Got a lot of offensive options. Some nights it's Connaughton, some nights it's Dragovic. Grant and Atkins have been pretty consistent.
St. John's spreading it out here. Now Achua comes up to set the ball screen. Garrett on the move, and Cooley swats that. Achua tracks down the loose ball. Shot clock is at 4. Here's a 3 that's short. And Cooley ahead to Grant. Green will challenge, and Grant can't put it in, but Martin is there. Good hustle by Martin down court.
Fifth-year senior knows not to give up on a play, regardless of who's leading the break.
And Notre Dame has scored 5 in a row to get back within 3. Good hustle by Green as well, not to give up and just give Grant the layup and go down there and challenge it. Shot clock down to 6.
And that.
It's too obvious. Weak. Well, they may have to come up with it quickly because there are a lot of people that think, oh, Harkless won't be at St. John's next year, that he'll be in the NBA. In fact, there are a lot of people around the NBA talking about him right now as Martin's shot hits the side of the backboard.
Yeah, Steve Lavin appreciates you saying so.
He's pretty talented, and you see it right there with 2 guys on him, just muscling his way down the lane to bank it in.
He's so tough to guard because he's got so much in his game. I mean, he's made a face-up jump shot already. He's made it look easy, so you take a step closer and he attacks that high foot.
High point, St. John's lead. Trying to get its 6th Big East win of the year. Notre Dame trying to win its 10th consecutive Big East game. The 9-game winning streak is a school record. Martin's 3 in and out in terms of consecutive wins in league games. Out of control there on the drive was Pointer, and he lost it out of bounds. 5th turnover.
Mo Harkless, again, he got to the free throw line once, made a jump shot. He goes right at Cooley. He's sitting there saying, there is no way Jack Cooley is fast enough to stay with me for 15 feet and attacking the rim.
I like the fact that he went into the defender as well. Didn't back away. Took it strong.
Looking for the end one. Great scorers think that way.
Got 8 points, 5 rebounds already. 3 of 5 shooting. And a 5-point St. John's lead. Notre Dame shooting 35% as a team. Connaughton the leading, or Martin rather, the leading scorer was 6. Connaughton has 5. And still Cooley without a field goal attempt, does have 1 point. Cooley with that made free throw to start the game, but hasn't done anything since offensively. Pointer picked up the foul. His first, team's 4th.
I'm impressed by what St. John's is doing on the defensive end of the floor. Think about this. Against UCLA, they were facing 2 6'10" twins, the Ware boys, and then Joshua Smith. That's 2 games ago. So
there's Cooley getting a shot attempt, but he could not bank it in. First official field goal attempt of the game for Cooley. Harkless going backdoor, well defended. Now Harrison got the defender in the air. Can't score, but a Notre Dame foul. 6th team foul on the Irish.
You've got a St. John's team that's been very active and mixing up their defense. As you see them try to keep it on the baseline, make it a tough pass. The pass is on the money. Achua rotates. And listen, the only thing you're trying to do in that circumstance is make them shoot over the top.
Foul is on Jaron Grant his first. Harrison can't hit the free throw. Averaging close to 19 points per game in league action, and you see what he's done the last 2 games. 45 points in those contests, and he has 5 here in the first half. The St. John's lead is now 6.
And now they extend pressure, just mixing things up on an Irish team that's got great IQ. So just make them work, try to disrupt their rhythm.
Dragovic finds Grant, who is 0 for 4 from the field, hasn't scored. Good defense, Achua knocking it away. And then St. John's gives it right back. Numbers for Notre Dame. Atkins. Dragovic spotting up. Nails a 3. That's the second 3 for Dragovic, and Notre Dame within 3. Harkless, tough shot, but he rolls it home. Oh, Harkless now with 10.
He's special. He's a guy just a special talent.
Grant 0 for 5 now, shooting the ball. He's Notre Dame's leading scorer. Harrison, Achua with the catch and finish.
Boy, I'll tell you this, it's almost like Harrison, once he released the pass, thought that probably is not the best spot. Achua, that's not normally a pass he comes up with, but nice job to stay with it. I'll tell you, they get blown out by 30, and Mike Dunlap came back and said, guys, that is not us. They were all upset, disappointed, got back to work. This is a resilient, young St. John's team.
They've got a 7-point lead at the 4-minute mark on Notre Dame. Here's Connaughton, can't hit the 3, and Pointer trying to get the handle. Here comes Harrison for St. John's. Harrison with a pull-up. Out to Pointer.
See, now Harkless is being checked by Dragovic. I think that's a difficult cover.
Here's Harrison on the drive, and Cooley stepped in and drew the charge.
Wow.
That's the first on Harrison, 5th on St.
Power 6 conferences this year. 0-3 versus ranked team. They've now won 5 of 6, including the 3 you just mentioned. And you know what they've been really good at? Managing late game situations. They feel like if it's a possession ball game, even with young guards, that last 4 minutes is their time. That's a great approach, and it'll help you in the NCAA tournament.
They finished second in the Big East a year ago at 14-4. They're 12-3 this year, currently in third, a half game back of Marquette. Here is a Dragic three. Cooley with the offensive rebound. Put it back, and he'll go to the line. His first field goal, and now Cooley with an opportunity at a three-point play.
Weak side checkout. You know this guy is second in the Big East in offensive rebounds. Harkless sort of moving over, nobody checking him out, and then you compound it with a mistake inside. Pound him on the end one.
Garrett with his first personal foul, 16 foul. As Cooley nails the free throw. Notre Dame back within 4 with 3 to play in the first half.
Cooley has gone from 19 and 12 the last 5 games.
Career high 5 straight games in double figures. Harkless trying to go baseline on Grant. Tough pass there. Tried to hit a Chua, but Pointer able to get to it. Harrison weaving through defenders, hanging in the air. Actually looked like he ran into his own man at first, but they did get a Notre Dame player for a foul. Harrison took a shot to the face as well as Cooley picks up his first personal, 17 foul on Notre Dame.
His first step's pretty good, isn't it?
It's quick. Harrison so far in this ball game is 5 points, a couple of assists. Probably a team you do not want to face in the Big East tournament because obviously they'll have fans here, especially if they play at night. And it's a team that's improving. They've got their system down now with Mike Dunlap running things and Steve Lavin upstairs, but obviously still involved with game preparation as well as recruiting. But it took a while to kind of figure, okay, how are we going to do this? Because Lavin came back to coach and then had to leave again when the doctors told him he was going to be in trouble if he didn't. Atkins missing, Achua with the board.
Well, they divided up responsibilities beautifully. You've got a highly experienced, tremendous basketball mind and Mike Dunlap at the helm. So,
offensive foul on Garrett, and that's 2 on him.
This is a guy with NBA experience, college experience, head coaching experience. And you know, what they're trying to do at this point with this group, you've got really good offensive players, and Harkless and Harrison. You're trying to build that defensive mentality, the grind it for 40 minutes.
Grant with a kick out finds a wide open Atkins. Cooley keeping it alive, and now Pointer out of there with it for St. John's. A lot of open threes for Notre Dame, but the Irish not making them. 3 of 16. Harkless can't hit the 3. Now Harkless with the 2 as he's able to get to the basket, taking it in on Cooley.
How easy, just running back. It's just what I do. I just score.
Very patient, too.
Pace, great pace he plays with.
And that's traveling.
Mo Harkless. He makes it look effortless. Goes right at Jack Cooley. I say this, the guy gets to the free throw line 6 times. I feel like there's been 2 or 3 times already where there's been enough contact that he should have been at the free throw line.
Got 12 points, 2 of 2 at the stripe. St. John's back up 8, approaching 1 minute to go. Notre Dame's field goal defense has been so good during this winning streak, as palming is called here. But right now, it's allowing St. John's to shoot 52%. Tomorrow, but at 1 Eastern, a Big Ten matchup as number 24 Indiana takes on Minnesota. Judgment Week also available at ESPN3, streaming live and watch ESPN.com.
I think the last bracketology I saw, Indiana as a 4 seed. So Tom Crean has put that program back together.
Done a great job there. The Big Ten. Been a weird year. Michigan State has kind of come out of nowhere to be maybe a 1 seed. Yes. Michigan's obviously had a great year. Everybody thought it was going to be Ohio State and then everybody else, but it hasn't been the case. Here's Martin, and almost threw it into the backcourt. Good job by Grant. Keep it from the turnover. Oh, man, great look tonight down low. Grant's not scoring, but he's doing.
say Marquette has got a tough out. Its last 2 games, they go at Cincinnati and versus Georgetown. So a couple of tough ones upcoming.
Notre Dame's at Georgetown for Big Monday, and then Friday taking on Providence. About a 3-second difference between game and shot clock. St. John's with the ball and a 6-point lead. Defend Harrison. Shot clock at 5. Here's Harkless shooting over Knight and short with it. Good defense by Knight. Out of bounds to Notre Dame. 4 seconds left.
Plenty of time. You're trying to catch this thing as close to the midcourt line as you can.
Achua comes back in for St. John's. And Green will go to the bench. Knight to the bench for Notre Dame, and Connaughton on the floor.
Yeah, get the pitcher in on the end line to throw it in.
Short baseball pass there. Grant, 1 second left. Atkins, good shot. Couldn't hit it though. Set up beautifully, but they could not execute. St. John. Close game at halftime with West Virginia. Then they outscored the Mountaineers by 25 in the second half. Will it happen again, or can St. John's pull an upset and end Notre Dame's 9-game Big East win streak a school record?
Well, they're better shooters than the 3 for 17 from 3 they showed in that first half.
Green will take the 3. Grant did get out on him, and Green missing the first shot of the second half. Connaughton, good look to Martin, and an easy 2 for Notre Dame to start.
I just wonder if Mike Bray sort of talked about, and this is something he did with Scott Martin early, and Scott Martin struggled out of the gates horribly offensively early in the season. He was taking too many threes as St. John's turns it over. What kinds of shots do the Irish want to take here in the second half? Let's really take a hard look at where their opportunities are coming from.
Yeah, more 3s than 2s attempted in the first half. Meanwhile, not a good start for St. John's. A poor shot on its opening possession, then a turnover on its second one. Missed 3 by Connaughton, so now 3 of 18 from behind the arc for the Irish. And another giveaway as Green just dribbled it off his leg. Notre Dame is in 3rd place in the Big East, and the half game back of Marquette, which knocked off West Virginia in Morgantown last night. Doing it shorthanded with a few players suspended for the first half and another suspended only for the second half.
Yeah, that was an interesting little deal. Makes you think that perhaps what they did was, not egregious. Were they late for team meeting? Were they late for the bus?
Here's Garrett down court, gets the layup. That was Harkless igniting the break.
Willingness to make the push pass.
Definitely want to talk more about the Marquette situation, and not just what happened before the game, but what happened after the game with Buzz Williams. We'll do that coming up. St. John's by 6 over Notre Dame. Cooley with a catch. Martin hits a driving Connaughton. Couldn't finish though. And Harkless gets a handle on the rebound.
It was the right play. They are trapping the post on the catch, and you've got to move off that.
Here's Harkless behind the arc. He'll kick it out. And Garrett fouled shooting a 3, and that's the 3rd personal on Scott Martin.
So watch what St. John's is doing on the catch in the post by the Irish. You can see they're getting multiple guys. Really good job by Harkless to use his speed and come over. Just great read coming from the backside, and as you said, igniting the transition opportunity. How much area did he cover with that pass?
And meanwhile, Scott Martin, on a guy who's not a good 3-point shooter, Garrett, just 3 of 14 coming into this game, runs out at him and fouls him shooting a 3. And Garrett hits the first 2 free throws. He's only a 57% foul shooter. Martin and Connaughton will go to the bench. Tom Knight back on the floor along with Dragovic. So Martin with 3 fouls. And Garrett gets all 3. And St. John's matching its largest lead from the first half, 9 points.
Now, Dragovic, remember, I thought was their best shooter in that first half. He went 2 for 4. You'll miss Martin a little bit on the defensive end, but you're in search of some offense, and Dragic might be the answer.
Atkins fouled on the way to the basket by Garrett. That's 3 on Garrett. First on St. John's in the half. What about Cooley? Only 2 shot attempts, Doris. Is it a product of what St. John's is doing defensively? Is Notre Dame just not getting the ball?
No, I think it's a product. I think they're doing very similar to what they did with UCLA, which is basically saying, okay, you know, you're going to have to make some perimeter shots to beat us. UCLA couldn't put the ball in the ocean.
Cooley called for pushing, his second foul, second on Notre Dame in the half. St. John's with a chance to go up by double figures. As the Red Storm weather the poor first minute to the second half. And again, Notre Dame has been down before at halftime and come up with big second half. Another Notre Dame foul, 13 foul on the Irish in the half.
Boy, that's quick. St. John's not a great shooting free throw team. If they get the bonus early, just 68%. But you certainly, good defensive teams don't foul.
Grant picked up the personal in a second. He has struggled offensively. No field goals for Jaron Grant. He's scored in double figures 9 straight games, a career high. At 20 the other night against West Virginia and was 8 of 11. Missed by the Johnnies, and now Grant on Knight. Got it out to Dragic. Can't knock down the 3, and then Knight slapped it out of bounds.
So what are they, 3 for 19 from 3 now?
Yep. 31% overall. I mentioned Grant struggling. He was 4 of 5 from behind the arc against West Virginia. 0 for 2 in this ball game. The only guys to hit threes, Dragic does have 2, and Connaughton with 1, but nothing out of Atkins, 0 for 4, and nothing out of Grant, 0 for 2 from behind the arc. Good defense by Knight and Harkless, but great work on the offensive glass by Garrett.
Yeah, and listen, neither team is a great rebounding team, and the Irish sagging in that zone, so their ability to get on that baseline in that first pass is important.
Largest lead for St. John's, and then Cooley misses the layup. Got the offensive rebound, and he'll go to the free throw line. Fouled by Pointer. Second on him. Second on St. John's. So Cooley will go to the free throw line. 2 for 3 at the stripe. You know, in the past, Doris, if Notre Dame didn't shoot well in the NCAA tournament, they were out early. But as Mike Gray told us, I think his guards, maybe the best combo he's had. They still don't in that position where if they don't shoot well like today, that they don't have enough inside to win games in the NCAA tournament.
I think this is a team that mixes tempo, mixes defense, and that mixing of tempo, being opportunistic when they take their break opportunities. We saw them against Syracuse. They didn't run the burn. They didn't run it the entire game. And that's not an easy thing to do, change speeds, especially young guards. Their IQ is really, really high.
Cooley had a big game, but remember, Fab Melo did not play for Syracuse that game. And they just didn't have anybody that could stop Cooley. I don't know if a lot of people thought that you'd use that terminology for Jack Cooley going into the year, but he's had that type of season.
Confidence is a funny thing now. It didn't matter that Fab Melo wasn't there. He just had a huge game, and that really triggered this great run he's on.
Atkins to Grant, still without a field goal, as Grant is now 0 for 6. Cooley kept it alive. And then Knight got it blocked by Pointer. Pointer into Knight, can't bank it in. And cleared by Connaughton. Well, neither team can put it in the basket here the last couple of minutes. Aaron Grant, no points in this ball game. Atkins finds Connaughton, wide open 3. And they've had open 3s. They just can't make them. Atkins, after the offensive rebound, is fouled. Third on St. John's. And if that's Garrett, that's number 4. Up next, we'll revisit that Marquette game we talked about.
They did was not serious. It could have been being late for a bus or late for a team meeting. You have standards as a head coach that you put on your team. So that's the only thing I'm thinking. If it's something more egregious than that, then yes, you'd be a little bit surprised that it were only a half.
By the way, they got Harrison for the foul, his second, not Garrett. But what about the dance and the apology afterwards?
Well,
big deal or no big deal?
It surprised me. First of all, this is a guy, as you know, most coaches, you're pouring your heart and soul into your team. Good board by Dragovic. They're missing some easy opportunities. You pour your heart and soul into your coaching.
Harrison, pull-up three.
It's an emotional game, and you don't rein it back in fast enough, and you can clearly tell. I texted him afterward because you know, it took some strength of character to say, hey, I'm sitting these guys, and then to win, you know, without those guys for 20 minutes. So a lot of things going on there.
Obviously happy about the win, and maybe just an emotional reaction with no bad intentions there, but obviously the fans of Morgantown didn't like it.
My first thought was it's unbecoming Buzz and unbecoming the program.
Notre Dame, meanwhile, has missed 10 straight shots, and they're down 12. Cooley defending on Pointer, and Garrett can't save it, try to throw it off of Knight. Notre Dame's got to get going at some point. 18th team in the country, struggling shooting under 30%. Pointer picked up a foul there, his third, fourth team foul. See if this is a shooting foul or not. Nope, not going to be.
You know, Mike Bray was telling us before the game how much his guys, he's sort of been waiting for them to have a moment where maybe they relax or they start thinking they're pretty good because they're on this streak. He thought it would happen soon, or sooner than it has.
Is this it? They have Georgetown on Monday.
Sure, it might be.
We got a road game in D.C. on Monday that a lot of people are talking about, their first big Monday game of the year. Atkins on the floor. Grant finds Cooley and able to get the bounce.
He's got tremendous hands, boy. If the ball is in his vicinity, he's coming up with it.
Harkless fouled. Again, aggressively taking it down the lane.
Well, what is impacting Jack Cooley in his day? Let's give some credit to St. John's. They get the trap. There's good rotation. Just Achua makes him shoot over the top. Then the weak side board where he gets out battled a little bit. And then Achua, how about this on the release, using his good foot speed.
Harkless gets the free throw after Grant picked up his third foul. Cooley with 8 points, 6 rebounds, but only 4 shot attempts. See if Notre Dame tries to go to him more, also considering their three-point shooting is poor, 14% in this game.
But you're right. Think about how many threes that they've had today where a defender hasn't been near them. I mean, they've gotten excellent looks at three.
The 3 of 21. And they've attempted as many threes as they had 2-point shots. 12-point St. John's lead. Here's Dragovic from behind the arc. Can't hit another three that looked like they had a good look. Rebound St. John. If Notre Dame were to lose this game, it's not out of the question they don't get a double bye. I mean, there's still other teams as Harrison with a beautiful move outside the key to lay it in. When you look at, you got Cincinnati, Georgetown, South Florida, all at 10-5. Notre Dame would be only a game ahead of those teams with still a couple games left if they were to lose this.
Seton Hall, and Mike Dunlap said, hey, we didn't feel good at all about Seton Hall. It would have been easy for us to fold. Steve Lavin showed up at practice. They just felt like they needed his voice and his energy right prior to the UCLA game. They have gone back-to-back wins. They're selling a young group on, listen, we're dangerous. You have upset written all over you. You are 12.5 minutes from what they're talking about.
St. John's turned it over there. And speaking of Lavin, says he's cancer-free and that he will definitely coach next year. He'd love to do it right now, but the doctor is advising him against coaching right now. He will definitely coach next year. That's what he was quoted as saying this week.
Welcome to New York City and the rumors and the drama that you've got to deal with as a head coach.
Cooley with the bucket. And it's a 10-point game, 12 to play here in the second half.
I'll tell you what, when they've made the effort to enter the ball into the post, he's made good use of it. 3 for 5, he's a high percentage finisher. He's upward of 50%.
They're getting points in the paint. Cooley and Martin each with 2004. Mike Bray just 1 and 5. And Mo Harkless, outstanding freshman for St. John's, missing the first free throw. Does have 14 points, 7 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 2 steals. And what's it going to take for Notre Dame to make a run? We've seen it before, but it's usually been on 3-point shots, and they're 3 of 22 from behind the arc today.
Yeah, St. John's extending the pressure again, just trying to mix things up. I think you should go to Cooley. I mean, he's been efficient when you've given him a chance, and there's Grant getting started.
Yep, his first 3 points of the game. Took almost 30 minutes of game action, but Grant is on the board.
As you can imagine, late game execution throughout the course of the year, up until the last 2 games where they had to do it against UCLA and had to do it against DePaul. They were tight games down the stretch. They were forced to execute. Can St. John's do it? Because Notre Dame has proven over and over again they're a tremendous execution team when it counts.
Shot clock at 5 for St. John's. Green with the jumper, gets the bounce.
Wow.
Don't know if that was intentional, going down to one knee and back up. He'll say it was afterwards. 11-point lead. Notre Dame, meanwhile, has made 4 of its last 5 shots, but they're going inside. Let's see if they do it again.
I think before you shoot a 3, even if it's open, why not at least enter the ball into the post?
How about the decision to keep Scott Martin on the floor with 4 fouls? Well, apparently it was a good one with the dunk there.
And my sense is that Mike Bray probably said, hey, guys, before we shoot an open 3, let's go ahead and at least play inside out. A touch inside.
Green with a pull-up. And rebounded by Cooley.
Have the Irish woken up?
Atkins finds Dragovic, had a little trouble with the handle. Now Cooley on Achua. Here's Martin for 3. They are 3 of 23 from behind the arc. Harrison with a spin, and then a blow by on Martin. What a move by the freshman D'Angelo Harrison. $14 for Harrison, and the lead back to 11. Achua and Cooley get into a little bit of a shoving match. And it's a St. John's foul.
How about how many guys he's got to go by? Spin dribble to shake the first defender. Lots of blue jerseys. The handle to be able to make this move in traffic. The spin, the crossover. Knowing Cooley with size is going at him. Good stuff.
They got Achua for the foul, his second, 5th on St. John's. 11-point lead midway through the second half. Good pass by Grant, and the finish by Connaughton.
That's something they've done several times. Snuck behind that back line of the defense with those slashing cuts.
Notre Dame has not lost since January 16th at Rutgers. They beat Syracuse 5 days later. Won 8 more in a row after that. 9-game win streak. Meanwhile, St. John's 0-10 against ranked teams this year. Harkless for 3. Rattles it home.
Not sure why Dragovic is not at least got a hand up and contest. I know you're concerned about his ability to attack you with the dribble.
Notre Dame can't answer. Connaughton missing. Out of bounds off of Knight. It's St. John's ball. 18 points now for Harkless.
Well, watch Dragovic. You know, he's sitting down. He doesn't have a hand up and contest. If you're going to give him that much of a cushion, at least have one hand up to challenge. Last February,
yeah.
Wow.
And then last year, they beat 6 ranked teams, 5 here at the Garden. The Duke game, that got everybody in the city going crazy about St. John's basketball again. Knocked off Pitt, beat Notre Dame here. Harrison missing the 3 and out of bounds to Notre Dame. And what was interesting about last year was that this coaching staff did it with a lot of the same players who were on the previous teams, but just couldn't get over the hump. And they finally got some confidence, won some games. It's an entirely new team here in 2012, and they're starting to hit their stride with the Big East tournament 10 days away. You think there's a team this year like a UConn last year that finishes in the bottom half of the Big East that can win the tournament?
No. There's no one as dynamic as Kemba.
Grant finds Cooley, gets the layup with the left hand. Although Connecticut could do it again, meaning finish in the bottom half of the Big East. I don't know if they're good enough to win the Big East tournament this year.
Yeah, I don't think they have the chemistry.
They got Syracuse tonight in our primetime game at Gampel. Here's Martin transition. Can't finish with the left. And Atkins got the rebound. Notre Dame trying to get it back down to single digits. Under 8 to go here in the second half. Martin playing with 4 fouls. Still aggressively takes it to the goal. The season game. We saw Connecticut last Saturday look really bad against Marquette. Shabazz Napier called out his team afterwards, but he produced at the end of the game against Villanova. St. John's ball, 8-point advantage. Harkless the leading scorer with 18. Harrison has 14. Able to get the handle and back out to Garrett. And then Connaughton picks up the 6th team foul.
Well, you lose your best player. Tim Abromaitis goes down late November. You've got to completely switch your thinking and how you built your team. And you've got young guards. I mean, Atkins and Grant have been sensational. I'll say this to you. Their attitude is, we think we should be having this kind of success, and that's half the battle.
11-8 5 weeks ago. That was the record. They're now 20-8 and 12-3 in the league. It's their best ever 15-game start in Big East play. Here's a 3 by Green that's in and out. An important stretch now for Notre Dame with the ball down 8. Atkins on the drive, finds Martin, and he puts it in to make it a 6-point game.
It's now 32-26 points in the paint, and the points in the paint in the second half for the Irish. They're just taking better shots.
How about Martin? Mike Gray elected to keep him on the floor, the veteran, despite 4 fouls. And Martin still played aggressively on the offensive end.
Aggressively but smart. You know, he hasn't had any out-of-control drives. He's getting defenders off his feet. But that's trust. You know, Dave, you can't do that with every player.
Look at Harkless. He got stuffed by Cooley, then went right back at the big guy. 20 points now for Harkless. He averages about 16 per game. Here's Graham on the baseline. Atkins off the skip pass. Cooley taps it in.
Penetration into the paint and a nice soft shot by Atkins. And again, the points in the paint in the second half. Difference has been tremendous. Okay, so you have this deficit that Notre Dame's overcome. Remember, it's the St. John's team that blew a 10-point lead to Nova and lost it in overtime.
That 20-point comeback was a week ago today. And Notre Dame doing it by going inside in this comeback. They have missed 13 straight threes. Trouble with a handle, loose ball. And St. John's trying to get possession and call timeout, but it's a shot clock violation. Either that or a jump ball. Shouldn't be a timeout, though. Harrison did not have possession. The officials are talking about it, and they do rule it a shot clock violation, so a turnover, it's Notre Dame ball. Chance to cut the lead to 4 or 3 on this possession. Let's see if they go back inside here. 3 for 24 from behind the arc. They lob it to Cooley. Martin back out to Connaughton. They'll try a 3, and finally, after 13 straight misses for Notre Dame from behind the arc, the Irish get one from Atkins, just his second basket.
He's 1 for 5 from 3. Came in as a 38% shooter. But what's the difference in that 3 than the earlier ones? Entry into the post, multiple passes on your possession.
An 11-2 run by Notre Dame.
And the crowd trying to help St. John's right now.
See if they get it to Harkless. Harrison with 5 to shoot. Had trouble with the handle. 2 on the timer. Harrison has to let it fly, and it's way off. Not a good possession there for St. John. Notre Dame can cut it to 1, maybe tie. Martin on the drive. Now Grant spotting up. In and out. Oh, Cooley there, but wait, no. Foul on Cooley. No basket. Third foul on Cooley.
It's never felt 20 points. Notre Dame has gotten off 15. St. John's turnovers. It tells you how they got back in it.
Meanwhile, how does St. John's get the ball more to Mo Harkless? He's been quiet lately, not a lot of touches. He's done good things when he's had the ball as Pointer gets the first free throw.
Well, you know, it's interesting, and we talked a little bit about this with Mike Bray. You think the guys that Scott Martin has had to check. He had to check Jay Crowder twice. He had to check Kevin Jones. Did a pretty good job on all three opportunities. And he was looking forward to the Harkless matchup. Let's really watch that down the stretch of this.
1 of 2 for Pointer at the free throw line. That was the 17th foul for Notre Dame, so over the limit now. Irish ball down 4, inside 4 to go. And that's a St. John's foul. That's the 16th foul. They get Pointer for his 4th. Remember, Notre Dame has won 9 in a row. Longest win streak in 4 years. Longest Big East win streak in school history. Trying for a double bye. 2 days off in the Big East tournament. Play Georgetown on the road Monday and Providence on Friday to wrap up the regular season. They almost may get a full week off if they can get the double bye. Here's a 3 by Connaughton that's way off, but tipped in by a St. John's player. Pointer went up with his arms in the air for the rebound, and he tapped it in. And it's a 2-point game. They'll give Cooley credit for the basket.
In a zone by the Irish. So, and this is where Harkless has made solid cuts to the ball. He's operating right at that free throw line. Cooley's sort of checking a man-to-man there.
So Harkless gets a touch, but gives it up to Green as the defense collapses. Shot clock at 7. Here's Harkless for 3. Too strong. Harrison with the offensive rebound and dribbles back into trouble. Knocked out of bounds by Martin. It'll stay St. John's ball. Watch here the arms of Pointer as he goes for the rebound off the miss by Connaughton. I don't think Cooley touched
on the 3 seed line. Now it's not updated after last night's action with Marquette in West Virginia, so that's a fluid process. Bracketology.
He had West Virginia in before last night, but that might change. Here's Garrett, can't hit the pull-up, and now Notre Dame with a chance to tie or perhaps take the lead.
We've worked together often enough that you complete my thoughts at this point.
Well, it ends up being, what, 25, 30 games a year with college and pro. Notre Dame is not led in this game. They're now down 2. 2:22 to play.
Well, we talked about the Irish believe this is their time.
Atkins wild shot, and then Garrett traveled. He got the rebound. Fans here wanted a foul. He went to the ground, and so it's a traveling violation. I think it was the right call, though. Didn't look like Garrett made contact. Missed 3 again by Grant. He's really struggling. 0 for 5 for 3, 1 for 9 from the field. But his team only down 2. And a foul by Connaughton. That's the 18th foul, so it'll be a 1-and-1. That's 4 on Connaughton. He'll leave, and Dragovic will come in. Harrison will shoot a 1-and-1.
He's an 81% free throw shooter on the year, Harrison. 3 for 4 today. .8, so 82%. Graphics right, I'm wrong. Round it up, baby.
That's 15 points now. Had consecutive games over 20. 3 of his last 4, 6 of his last 8, 20 or more points. Harkless has 20 points to lead the way for St. John's. Cooley with a double-double, 16 points, 11 rebounds. Rebound by Dragovic. And for Cooley, that's a double-double for the 5th time in his last 6 games. Notre Dame ball down 3 under 2 remaining in regulation. The extra pass to Martin. Now Dragovich will let it fly, and it's swatted away by Garrett. 12 to shoot for Notre Dame.
Just great pursuit by Garrett. Nice job to recover there defensively.
St. John's just got a sideline warning. Mike Stewart telling them to sit down. Got to get it in here. Almost 5. Shot clock for 9 as Grant crosses the timeline. Another open 3, another miss on an open 3, but Connaughton got the rebound, and Cooley, and that's goaltending. Count the basket. It's a 1-point game with 1:28 left.
Okay, now Connaughton just missed another 3. This guy
back on January 21st.
And here is a dynamic that Mike Bray hasn't had in his history. The speed, the quickness of Atkins and Grant, and I don't just mean that foot speed. These guys have tremendous hands. They have fast hands and fast feet.
Can Notre Dame survive a poor shooting day from everybody behind the arc, in particular Grant and Atkins?
They're facing the zone, and let's see, does Harkless come and cut toward the middle of that zone?
He's on the baseline right now. And here he gets a touch. Pull it back out, though. Shot clock at 9. Back to Harkless in the corner. Drives past Cooley. Garrett with 5. Got it back to Harkless. And a 3-point opportunity for St. John's. Connaughton fouls out in the process. A great 3-point shooter.
Yeah, just attacks that foot. No call on the baseline. An awful lot of contact for no call, but the nice pass. I'll tell you, not a lot of spacing down there. Harkless comes up with something that's not easy to catch. Makes it look easy.
So a chance to push it to a 4-point lead, and now Mike Bray has to substitute for Connaughton, as you said, 1 of 9 from 3, but a guy that you'd love to have out there late in the game when you need one, even though he struggled. Dragovich will replace him, and he hasn't fared much better. 2 of 7 from behind the arc, but certainly capable. And Harkless, who is 5 of 6 at the line tonight, 66% of the year, make it a 4-point game. Under a minute to go. In and out. Rebound Martin. Here's Grant. Dragovich puts it on the floor, and it was Pointer who knocked it out of bounds. It'll stay Notre Dame ball, 24 to shoot. 45.7 on the game clock.
Remember now, Grant struggled in that Villanova game, but made big shots late. I still think you want to go inside out. Oh, there he is.
Great look. Beautiful call by Bray on the inbounds play, and it's a layup for Martin. It's a 1-point game. Green will bring it across, and
it looks like they're headed in that direction. So what they seem to want to do, St. John's, is get it below the free throw line and then go to Harkless on the baseline. Do they do it again?
They start with Harkless out in the backcourt, with Atkins defending him. Again, about an 8-second difference between game and shot clock. St. John's ball, 1-point lead.
Good job staying spaced. And they're just extending and pressuring with Atkins and Grant.
Shot clock inside of 10. Harrison trying to go get the ball. Here's Green with 5. Garrett with 2. Garrett into the lane. Hit it with Wall and a timer. 3-point lead for St. John's. Notre Dame has a timeout. 5 seconds left. They find Atkins. 2 seconds left for the tie.